Coming up on Carolina News.
Election Day disaster. Columbia picks its new mayor today, but there were problems at the polls.
It is a systemic problem that has happened when you have 19 precincts reporting problems.
Find out what went wrong and if it will affect who the mayor is.
Food on campus.
If you think about kind of where campus especially is in location to grocery stores, we technically live in a food desert.
See what the Gamecock Pantry is doing to fix that.
The Battle of Camden. One local community travels back to a time when America gained its freedom. Carolina News starts now.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Amber Lipscomb.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bryce Jaquo. Our top story today, Columbia's mayoral runoff is happening as we speak. The Richland County Election Commission reported 13% voter turnout so far.
Polls are open for about 3 more hours, but from the moment the doors open, there were dozens of reports of problems at the polls.
Our reporter Robbie Greenwald is live at Sims Park polling location to explain what went wrong and how candidates reacted to the issues.
That's right. We've been trying to figure out just what went wrong at the polls this morning. Over a dozen polling places reported having problems, including right behind me at Sims Park. People across Columbia reported anything from a lack of pens to fill their ballots out to a lack of paper ballots to fill out in the first place. Daniel Rickman, one of the candidates, had a press conference this morning. He says the problem might be bigger than what people think.
It was very disappointing to hear the Election Commission behind me make a statement to the press this morning that there were no issues. There were issues. There are lots of issues. And it is a systemic problem that has happened when you have 19 precincts reporting problems.
The Election Commission denied any problems this morning, but now they are blaming poor polling manager training and problems with files on voting machines. Some voters even reported receiving ballots with all 4 candidates from the initial November 2nd election. The Sims Park location was one of the first voting locations that reported voting machines not working properly. I talked with the clerk to see what they plan on doing if these problems persist.
We're assuming they can be counted through the scanner. We've been putting them in the scanner, and we will, at the end of the day, see what comes out. And if all else fails, that's the beauty of this new system, is these can be counted manually. But we're not saying we're doing that. We're saying we're going to run them through the system, and hopefully we'll get a total.
Now, election officials are saying that these problems should not affect the outcome. They're also saying that the problems with the voting booths was due to a data error from the vendor. Officials also say that people getting turned away from voting and asked to come back later was, quote, unacceptable. Live from Sims Park, I'm Robbie Greenwald.
Thanks, Robbie. Now, Rickman's opponent, Tamika Isaac Devine, also put out a statement encouraging voters to vote by paper and stay in line at the polls. The only other thing on the ballot is an at-large city council seat. The race is between Adity Bustles and Tyler Bailey.
Well, despite all the issues, it is a beautiful day to head out to the polls. Let's go to Jalen at the Kennedy Greenhouse for what voters can expect for the rest of the day.
That's right, Amber. It is a beautiful, beautiful day to do our silver duty and go vote, or to maybe take some pictures like it is happening right behind me. Right now it is around 70 degrees, so it's nice, but it will be getting colder later on in the evening. So for those who are going to be voting later, do please bring a jacket. And it's going to be the similar pattern for the rest of the week as well. But I have more on that later. So right now, let's head back to the desk.
Thanks, Jalen. Columbia police are now investigating a shooting that happened in the Rosewood area. They say 2 men were shot in the 2200 block of Kennedy Street on Monday night. One was pronounced dead at the scene, and the other was transported to the hospital. If you have any information on the shooting, contact Crime Stoppers anonymously. The suspect in the killing of 2 sisters in Lexington has been found dead. Lexington County officers say the man was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound Monday afternoon in his car. The victims were found at a home near Gaston. Both died of gunshot wounds, according to the coroner. Once again, if you have any information on this shooting, contact Crime Stoppers.
A Midlands Tech College student has pled guilty to weapons-related charges. Edward Daniel Kimpton Jr. was arrested in 2020 with over 90 stolen guns. He had also been researching mass shootings. He will be sentenced at a later date.
President Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law on Monday. The bill means over $6 billion is coming to South Carolina to help with highways, airports, among other things. South Carolina's current infrastructure got a D+ grade from the American Society of Civil Engineers, and this money will help improve that grade.
Right now, about 4% of registered passenger vehicles in South Carolina are electric, but that number is expected to continue rising. With so many unknowns on the effect those vehicles could have, our reporter Jackson Fields found out what those problems are and how they could be fixed.
It's the coolest car I've ever seen, total dream car.
For Andrew McClam, the decision to buy an electric car 1 year ago wasn't a difficult one.
It is fast, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's got full autopilot.
And while he may not have bought his Tesla for electric reasons, he has benefited from them.
You know, it hasn't really affected our electric bill. I got a plug in the back of the house that we just plug it in. I really haven't noticed much of a change, maybe $5-10 extra. It's very cheap.
McClam says it would cost around $85 to fill his previous car with gas today.
It has been awesome, especially with everybody complaining about gas prices. I just get to zip around and drive right past them. And if there's another gas shortage, I'm good.
State Senator Larry Grooms says the continued rise in gas prices could push more and more people to go electric.
I've got no doubt when you're paying $3 or more at the pump, if someone is making a decision as to what type of vehicle to buy, an electric vehicle makes more sense at $3 a gallon than it does at $1.25 a gallon.
Despite those sky-high gas prices Senator Grooms talked about, he says he knows people that went from this back to this due to lack of available chargers and time spent charging, which leads to higher electric bills.
I personally know someone, a former legislator. She was very happy 8 years ago when she bought an electric vehicle. And 8 years has passed and all the batteries need to be replaced. And it left a really bad taste in her mouth. So now she's shopping for a gasoline-powered vehicle.
And while McClam hasn't seen a spike in his electricity bill, many electric vehicle drivers have. According to a UC Davis study, 1 in 5 California electric vehicle owners have traded their car in for a gasoline-powered vehicle due to slow and inconvenient battery charging.
As more vehicles are transitioning from fossil fuels to electric, there will have to be changes.
Those changes could include fixing South Carolina's infrastructure and making sure there's enough electricity to go around to charge these cars.
Well, as more and more homes have an electric vehicle parked out front, where's the electricity going to come from?
Despite the unclear future of electric vehicles, McClam's mind is made up.
So I think I'm, electric for life and Tesla probably for life as well.
And Grooms agrees. These cars aren't going anywhere.
The electric car is here to stay.
The South Carolina Senate Finance Subcommittee on Electric Vehicles, which Grooms is a part of, will meet again next month to discuss the future of electric vehicles in South Carolina. For Carolina News, I'm Jackson Fields.
Senator Grooms also said other technologies, such as fuel cell-powered cars, could be the next big thing after electric vehicles.
Prisma Health Children's Hospital has received a new critical care ambulance. The ambulance designed for children will have cutting-edge safety features, life-saving medical equipment, and a media system to help distract or comfort children in pain. It's been funded by almost 100 different donors. A California-based weapons manufacturer is opening a $9.5 million facility in Greenville. Sword International will hire 55 new people. They make small firearms for the U.S. military and law enforcement agencies.
Arrangements for the funeral of State Senator Hugh Leatherman have been finalized. Funeral services will take place this Friday at the Francis Marion Performing Arts Center in Florence, South Carolina. A reception will be held on the grounds of the Performing Arts Center by his family. A time has not yet been announced.
South Carolina Republican Representative Nancy Mace has introduced a bill to federally decriminalize marijuana. The bill will allow states to pass their own legislation regarding the drug. A 3% federal tax would also be placed on it. The South Carolina Republican Party opposes the bill.
Coming up next on Carolina News, find out how the Gamecock Pantry is fighting food problems on campus. And later, the reenactment of the historic Battle of Camden.